After 2 weeks of protests in Panama, the situation intensifies further as protesters block the Inter-American Highway, which connects the country to the rest of Central America. Despite government efforts to appease tensions, thousands of citizens once again took to the streets across the country on Wednesday, protesting rising food and fuel prices. The crisis was brought on by different factors. Fuel prices have almost doubled since January. The cost of basic necessities has skyrocketed and wages have dropped. President Laurentino Cortizo announced a price freeze on gas and several basic necessities in a bid to defuse the situation. But it's too little too late for demonstrators.
Да, сэр.
A U.S. Navy destroyer sailed into the South China Sea Wednesday, testing restrictions imposed by China in a so-called freedom of navigation operation.
Well, in this case, the goal is to simply challenge China's claims that these islands in the South China Sea, these particular islands were called the Paracel Islands, actually belong to China. Nobody else recognizes that China owns these islands, but China is using might to exert control over these islands by building up many military bases on the islands.
Every chance to return to this great country, where the ancient roots of the Jewish people date back to biblical times, is a blessing. Because the connection between the Israeli people and the American people is bone deep. It's bone deep.
The red carpet rolled out, the King David Hotel in Jerusalem emptied, security massively boosted, and several major roadways closed. Israel pulling out all the stops and preparations for United States President Joe Biden's first official visit to the region since taking position in the Oval Office January 2021. But Israeli expectations for the outcomes of this visit as high as the levels of excitement. Biden and his delegation scheduled to meet with top Israeli officials Wednesday, followed by meetings in the PA on Thursday, and then a summit in Saudi Arabia Friday.
A Gambian court on Wednesday sentenced 5 former members of the intelligence service to death for the murder of a political activist during the rule of ex-leader Yahya Jammeh. The High Court Justice Kumba Sila Kamara pronounced the sentence against the former head of the National Intelligence Agency, Yankuba Bajie, after finding him guilty of murdering Ebrima Solo Sandeng, an important figure in the opposition United Democratic Party, in 2016. Bajie was also convicted of bodily harm. The agency's former operations chief Sheikh Omar Jeng, as well as NIA officials Babukar Salah, Lamin Daboy and Tamba Mansari were convicted on the same charges and sentenced to death by the Banjul court.
Well, Thomas, the parade is well and truly underway now. The military parade here on the Champs-Elysees has begun. We saw members of the Air Force, members of the Army. As you mentioned, we saw that spectacular air show earlier that began with the Patrouille de France, that formation of jets with the blue, white and red smoke at the back. There was also that air show also ended with a Reaper drone, a drone that was manned remotely. That was for the first time in a Bastille Day celebration. There was a drone, and right now we're just seeing different units of the military forces, the police, the firefighters, the gendarmerie as well, parading on the Champs-Elysees, where they're making their way to Place de la Concorde, where Emmanuel Macron is waiting to greet them.
On 15 November 2022, the world will mark an important milestone as the global population surpasses 8 billion people. 8 billion people. What a number. The historic moment calls for celebration. Population growth is a tangible sign of our collective success in improving the living conditions of everyday people throughout the world. But the 8 billion milestone also brings important responsibilities and highlights related challenges for social and economic development and environmental sustainability.